Greetings to Star Trek Discovery Pod, a sometimes funny, trying to be smart podcast talking about all things new and classic Star Trek. I get ready for some slap jazz. I'm your captain, Myrriah Gossett. With me on the view screen, we have
Clyde Haynes. Hey, don't haze me, bro.
And statistically, gonna die to touch it. Oh no, Myrriah.
Episode 3 of Lower Decks in the Cradle of Vexilon. Oh no.
Oh no, Myrriah, it's my Wi-Fi, my Wi-Fi.
I'll be right back. You guys got it. I'll be right back.
So hey everyone, Myrriah is in my guest bedroom, and apparently my Wi-Fi isn't strong enough to get her beamed in. There we go. Let's look over the Star Trek thing. So I guess we're gonna do some Telluride jazzing. Are you back, Myrriah?
Yes.
I think I'm back. I think I'm back. I connected to the extension of the Wi-Fi. I think that helps. Okay, we'll see. We're stretching the imagination of the tech available to us this evening as I go out into the Delta Quadrant.
When you're a podcaster and you get your setup just the way you want to.
Just the way you want.
And then you try and do something. You travel, you try and do it on location. You try to do it from your friend's house, your mother's basement spare room. You never know what's going to happen. It's like, hey, I'm just here to talk about Trek and I can't. So,
but we're making it happen. We are making it happen. I downgraded the quality of my camera. I might still lag a bit. I don't know if my lips are matching what I'm saying, but we'll see how it goes. Tonight we are talking In the Cradle of Vexilon. This was directed by Brandon Williams, written by Ben Waller. Fun fact, this is the first script credit for Ben Waller, who has been a writer's assistant on Lower Decks since season 1. Oh. Loves shouting out writers' rooms, doing it correctly, moving people up. And this was also a directorial debut for Brandon Williams, who joined Lower Decks in season 2 as a storyboard artist. So look at that. Everyone's growing. Yeah. Growing and learning.
It's like they're lieutenant junior grades now.
You could say so. Our lower deckers are moving on up. We do have a couple of reminders, though, before we dig into tonight's main event. Paul, where can people share this podcast if they wanted to?
Hey, we are hosted on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. All links are at StarTrekPod.co. And if you love our content and would like to support our journey, consider donating $2 to our Patreon at patreon.com/StarTrekPod.
Indeed. And Clyde, if people are watching the live stream, how can they get in touch with us in this chat?
The ASL American Sign Language but it will turn your camera. No, seriously. If you are participating live, if you're watching us live on YouTube and you want to hang out and participate live, share a comment, all we ask is that you type capital P, capital O, capital D, capital pod in the chat. And we will take a look at your comment, your question, your thought. And in a moment, we will ask you for your overarching thought of the show. And all we need you to do is to type capital H, capital F, capital HF in the chat. And we will take a look at your thoughts after we read a few messages from the menagerie.
And to answer Nicole, the reason why Myrriah and I aren't sharing the same mic in the same room is because we spontaneously break out into duet, and that's not appropriate for this medium right now.
It's true. It can also cause some echoes, and sharing a mic doesn't sound great. We're thinking about our audio listeners as well. We're trying to keep everyone in mind. That's why we're in 2 separate places, getting those clean audio feeds of each person.
Yes. And speaking of message from the menagerie, for you podcast only listeners, it's a great way. If you are a Patreon subscriber, then you can drop us a message in our Message of the Menagerie on our Slack channel, and we can read your HF or your pod notes right here on the show, even though you're not watching us live.
Indeed. We appreciate everyone who hangs out with us here on the pod. So I do think it might be time for us to get into, and I feel like I need to make some videos for our messages from the menagerie. But in the meantime, We'll just all count it down under some hot freaks. Hot freaks. Okay, while we gather our thoughts, here are some messages from the menagerie. Kuhn says, hot freak, I'll never love hearing a la Marine, but only Lower Decks could find a way to make any part of Deep Space Nine move along home feel interesting. The fourth season is a hit so far. Karen, my hot freak is that this was enjoyable and kind of middle of the road solid LDS. The third eps tend to be like this. It was also more of a standard Star Trek straight up episode while still being humorous. And Jack's into art. Who knew? His layers keep unfolding. Also very much appreciated a Twin Peaks homage. Home Chicky says, I'm a fan of the koala cameo. Liked how Boimler learned about delegation, leading versus doing, and then good weasel, nice weasel, lulz. All great observations. Clyde will BRB. He had to take a quick trip to the Delta Quadrant. So in the meantime, Paul.
Smooth.
What was your hot freak?
I think someone said it, like middle of the road, good. Like, I have no real criticisms towards it. Like, I mean, I don't know if like if there was any concept that was so new to me. Like it felt like it grabbed a lot of tropes that we know and like references and put them together in a very enjoyable way. Much like the cake I'm baking right now. It's going to be acceptable and perhaps forgettable, but at the time you're going to enjoy it.
Yeah,
and that's why we're gonna like phaser Clyde. Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed.
Be nice to me.
Let's see what the chat has to say while Clyde collects his thoughts. Nicole says, Pod, it was solid, but nothing worth writing home about. We'll let some more come in. But Clyde, what's your hot freak of this episode?
I think after last week, I had big expectations. Like I was like, oh man, I can't wait. Like I got my routine and everything. Like I was sitting down and was really into it, and then found myself yelling at Boimler in particular, and was just really annoyed. I thought the idea of him trying to do everything by himself went on just a bit too long, and I was just I kind of want, at the end when they pull it together and they're doing all great stuff, I wanted more of that and less of the I'm gonna blow everybody up because I'm trying to do this my way. So that just didn't quite connect with me. And Freeman trying to do this on her own, like it was definitely an episode about doing things on your own is a bad idea, and we're going to spend way too long getting there. But on the other hand, I love the fact that this was a computer that was running a planet that wasn't evil. Like I kept waiting for this, like for them to reboot it and it just be the demon computer, and it wasn't. And I was like, that's a nice change of pace.
Well, has there been a trend of that?
Maybe once or twice or 16 times. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Truly the nicest computer we've ever had on Star Trek, I think, in a long besides our ship's computers,
So kind,
so considerate.
And so considerate. Just, I'm so sorry. Like, did I do that? Like, it was just wonderful. Like, it was a very pleasant computer. I would like to have tea sometime with that computer.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think I'm with y'all. This was, I don't think. I will say this was very rewatchable because I don't know if it was because the first time I watched this episode, it was at 4:00 in the morning, and then I watched it at a much more normal time. But I definitely laughed out loud and found a lot of layers of jokes, like all Lower Decks episodes go. There's definitely lots of humor. There's lots of things I want to talk to y'all about. Again, the references on references. I think it's a really strong structure. I enjoyed watching Boimler kind of have to learn this lesson as someone who has in the past struggled to delegate tasks. I really identified with Boimler in this episode. When you're just like, well, why would I show someone how to do this when I can do this and it's faster if I do this? But it's because then you can go do other things if you teach people how to go do these things, and then you get more things done. We all know those things. We've had to learn these things the hard way.
I don't know what you're talking about. But to go off that, like, I would say the issue for me, and this goes off a bit of Clyde, is that it didn't escalate after that. Like, so
I mean, Boimler died.
But Boimler didn't die messing up. Boimler died doing his job, right?
Right.
So, like, what would really be funny if, like, oh, let me show you how to do it, and then he puts it in and goes, you do this, and boom, and then he dies immediately after that. That would have been hilarious. And then it would have it could go in a different direction. But, like, in this case here, like, I think both storylines, all three storylines actually, kind of are static. They don't evolve in a way that I take it back. Maybe the on the board on the ship episode where, like, like, oh, what about these the hidden set of, like, ice lunar ships. But, like, they're all just like, I'm doing something, I'm making it worse. I'm doing something, I'm making it worse. But, like, nothing new is really happening. It's just themselves making it worse. Anyway, that's just my hot take.
Yeah.
Sorry. Kern in the chat says that I preferred this episode to the last one. I'm just not as much of a Moopsie fan. And I got to admit, just reading the word Moopsie made me giggle just a little bit. Like,
Moopsie.
It just
wow, that was good. That was good. That was good, Myrriah. Well done.
I'm secretly the voice of Moopsie.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I think there were a couple of things that were interesting to me. And Myrriah, you mentioned this being a rewatchable episode. I think so too, because to be honest with you, the overarching plot didn't move, right? And one of the ways I noticed that was I fully expected us to get the death, face ship, and we didn't.
Oh yeah, that's true.
There was no death face ship, and
right.
And I was like, oh, okay, so this is just kind of an episode where
actually,
there's no waiting.
Did you watch all the way to the end credits? Through the end credits?
I did not.
Well, I didn't either, so I don't know.
I didn't see a ship, and I did let it roll for a while, but before it auto skipped. But that would have been funny. I did want to. I mean, I think I agree, but it's like nice to have a little bit of spacing between these, like, just ship destructions, right?
Oh, yeah.
So this does feel like an episode that could probably go anywhere in the season, I'm assuming, but it is nice to have it at the beginning to kind of see a little bit of this, like, it felt like the reminder of just because they've been promoted doesn't mean we're not going to make them still be do lower decky things, And even to the point where I thought it was interesting that Freeman is kind of also doing something that's below her, right? Like, she doesn't need to go down and fix this computer, but she wants to. It feels like when, there's those moments when Picard's on the away team and Picard probably shouldn't be on the away team. You know what I mean? But it'll be like, but I like archaeology, so I'm going to go down.
No, I hear you. I think for me, to comment on Freeman, like, I felt like she needs this. It's like unforced error, right? Like, it's such an unforced error, and I can see, at least from Boimler's perspective, where, like, it was set up like, hey, people die, and it's most likely going to die when you're in charge. Like, I can see how he can cause an unforced error there. Like, what causes Freeman's unforced error? Like, I have an answer. I don't know if I like it, but, like, answer.
What's your answer?
Peanut hamper. Oh no. No, the answer.
So, in fairness, I did expect this to be an evil computer teamed up with Peanut Hamper at about minute 3. So I was like, I'm not gonna be surprised when Peanut Hamper shows up.
Yeah. The nice computer was very nice to Freeman, and Freeman wanted to show off. That's what it seemed like. That's what I was getting.
I was gonna eventually. I thought it was hysterical how many old PC computer references they packed into this episode about this computer. The safe mode, the finding the manual in the junk drawer, like, it truly tickled me every time they managed to do y'all remember when we had to defrag computers on a regular basis?
No, I'm actually like a Gen Z, so I don't know what that means.
Well, so but it's I guess my thought is, because technology has changed so much. There's a lot of people who may not get those references.
That's what I wonder is like how I saw like some discourse on the internet about how it's interesting to see some of the younger generation aren't quite as like fully computer literate as like millennials, and it's because like we grew up having to learn each step of the like we had to defrag our computers, we had to like learn how to connect to the internet and like all of these things.
Also, and I blame Apple a little bit for this, is that technology today, I think,
it's
having
so much faster, like
it's faster, but also the expectations are higher, right? You pull an iPad out of its box, you just expect it to work. Yeah, and it's just like, oh, this is always going to work. Look, I'm from a generation where when you got a new shiny piece of software and you installed it, there's a 75% chance it was not going to work the way you wanted to the first time out. And then you had to go read up and figure out, okay, well, how do I make this work? And so when technology has a problem or an issue today, I'm like, oh, well, that was kind of expected. But I realize that like, my tween at home gets really frustrated when technology doesn't do exactly what she expects it to do. I mean,
speaking of technology, am I Borg like?
Nope, you're good.
No, okay. You're good. But see,
we're gonna get Paul some new cables.
But here's the thing, like, because of that, even in this podcast, when we've had issues, particularly with video, we all have the capability of, we're not surprised by that. We're like, oh, we'll just kind of figure it out. Because, computers do weird things just spontaneously.
Yeah. Off of how old we all are. I wanted to talk about the anomaly storage room. If you could throw in another object into the anomaly storage room, what would you have wanted to be in there?
It had to be the drug induced like glasses that you put over and you play the game, and then like those are always my favorite.
The Ashley Judd mind control glasses. Not that but she was in the episode.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I think like that what you call it, Ryson like sex thingamajigger with the sex idol with the like
the Ryza idol.
Yeah. but the one with the like the Earth destroying, like the solar system destroying, like
secret powers.
Yeah.
What about you, Myrriah?
Oh, I was trying to think of what I would want to put in there. I feel like maybe like a fragment of Control or something, just as like a little nod to disco.
Wow. There you go. The disco to the end.
Yes.
A fragment of Control is like, there's no such thing, right? It just becomes.
I know. But maybe it's in a container of some kind.
That's right. There you go. Fair enough.
It's in a safety box.
You mentioned that, Myrriah, and I would say it would be very cool to see Lower Decks have some just simple references in that room to disco, to Strange New Worlds, to even, it'd be a little bit weird because of the timeline, but even like a Picard, like a Picard flashback reference or something.
Oh, Klingon time crystal. That's my answer.
Oh, Klingon time crystal. That's a good one.
That's my answer.
I'm not a big fan of ferrets. I feel like I'm a Rutherford in this situation.
Well, okay. Well,
I don't know what y'all thoughts are.
At the risk of alienating our audience, I get that there was a time when they were kind of cool, or we thought they were kind of cool, but I feel like it was like 15 minutes in the 90s, and I'm not a huge ferret as a pet fan, but I'll be honest, you gotta understand, I'm a pretty traditional like pet guy, right? I'm not really an exotic pet guy.
Interesting.
Yeah. They're
So,
I mean, power to people who have them. I just think they're stinky.
yeah. What about like Kindergarten Cop? You remember the little ferret in Kindergarten Cop?
I don't think I've ever seen Kindergarten Cop.
No,
Well, it's about a cop who goes to kindergarten.
I gather.
You have a tumor.
That's right. Let's see. I don't know. Yeah, I like to think of myself as a exotic pet person, but I don't actually have pets. So so that's. But like the idea of a capybara, like one of the South American like water rats. I think that's pretty cool. Like the size of a.
I do like the capybara song. That's like capybara, capybara, capybara.
You're way off the rails today.
I'm sorry. I'm tired. I've been up since 4 a.m.
If you're listening to us on the pod, and this is your first time listening to Star Trek Discovery Pod, just keep in mind, most weeks we're way more on track.
Okay. But if you like what you're hearing, if you like what you're hearing, consider joining our hot dog pod. And
hot dog chat.
Yeah, hot dog chat. Yes. That's right.
I was going to try to get us back on track talking about so our A plot is this planet that's run by this very sweet and nice computer. Our B plot is Mariner, Tendi, and Rutherford having to do these ensign style tasks that they at first believe to be hazing. We find out at the end is hazing, but they go above and beyond because they are good people, which I saw, to remove a prank that they sort of put back on the officer who was hazing them initially to scan all of the tiny chips in that isolinear chips in that big matrix room. If you had to haze a new lieutenant, what would you make them do?
Haze a new lieutenant?
Yeah,
I don't know. You go, Clyde.
Clean the holodeck.
Holodeck.
I mean, that's pretty classic ensign work.
I don't know. I for whatever reason that the room with the nacelle next to the nacelle with the blinding red light, I just have to be in there for some reason. I think that'd be great without the what you call it, the frosted glass. And so but I'm cold.
I feel like having to clean the tank for the
whales.
Yeah, I was like sick. I'm losing words. It starts with the ops. It's like whatever the scientific term is for those dolphin whales.
Yes.
Cleaning their tank.
Well, I was trying to think of like what are the tasks that they always have to do that happen real quick. Like I was thinking TNG, Geordi's always running some diagnostic for something, or I mean, a classic task for a junior lieutenant has to involve them in a Jeffries tube for some reason, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the classic thing is there we go.
Cetacean. I can't say it. Cetacean.
Cetacean ops.
There you go.
Cetacean. I don't know. Cetacean. That doesn't sound right. I feel like I'm not pronouncing it correctly. I'm gonna have to look it up later.
When you hate someone, like a very common thing is to be very angry and have them fetch a piece of equipment that doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
Like in Game of Thrones.
They have to go like department to department asking it.
That's right, exactly. So like a dilithium recrystallizer or something like that.
Mm-hmm. There were some other things that made me really giggle in this episode. It is a volcano from T'Lyn made me laugh out loud. Tellurite slop jazz, spit versus bristle flarps. It sounds wet. Truly, I would love to hear just the continuation of like them having to like improv that conversation continuously and all of the weird words that they would come up with. I did want to ask y'all if you thought. So I thought it was interesting when T'Lyn says that she's studied Boimler's logs and mission files. And to me, I was like, is this like a Vulcan way of flirting, being like, oh, I've scrolled all your social media profiles?
I thought the same thing. I thought that was her Vulcan way of saying, Yeah, I'm definitely trying to slide in your DMs.
Yeah, that's what it felt like, right?
You know, like she was
What?
liking.
You didn't get that, Paul?
Not to say that I don't love Boimler, but like, Talin is probably too good for him.
Yeah,
I don't know about that, but I mean, it's just like she was like, "Yo, I checked out your profile," and she complimented him, right? Like for a Vulcan,
it felt like a Vulcan flirt.
I mean, she basically took his hand and wrote her number on it. You know what I'm saying? She was like, gave him a wink and was like, "Call me, big guy." Like she was trying to holler.
Maybe I don't know. Like, you know, it's one of those things. Like, if you were the new Vulcan in town, is Boimler the person you go like, oh, yeah, you're the one.
But
if you're a Vulcan looking for somebody who is obsessive, compulsive about their work and getting things done right, he's not a bad choice.
I mean, the other thing is, like, we've now seen Boim's IRL and confirmed that Boim's does look like Jack Quaid. And I'm just saying, Jack Quaid's a pretty good looking person.
Well, and you got to remember, like, back in his farm, like all of the women are
Boimler has riz, y'all.
Like, Boimler's fine, but he's no George Kirk.
No George Kirk. But yeah, I feel like there might be some setups for vibes there. I did really like seeing Mariner, Tendi, and Rutherford as like a little trio this episode. I like when we get to break them up into different pairs.
Sure.
I really liked last season when we got to see Tendi and Mariner go off on some adventures together, and I'm really hoping we get that this season as well, just because I think there's such a fun dynamic of like almost the polar opposite of the same coin. You know what I mean? It's like the overly enthusiastic. They're both very good at what they do and very smart. And they're both very street smart, which I think Tendi got to kind of show off a bit here when she's the one who initially is like, we're being hazed. I know what this is like. Like on Orion ships, they used to do this all the time. And then I really needed, I wish we got a quick flash of Tendi having to blindfold sword fight or whatever. She's knife fight.
Sure. Yeah. No.
That would have been fun. But I'm excited to see more like badass Tendi moments this season.
Tendi has very like slowly become one of my favorite characters of the crew. Like she's just, I think her backstory is really rich and interesting. Like Mariner has this backstory where she's had all these adventures, but it feels like in the last season or so, they've moved away from Mariner and all these adventures, right? I feel like we used to talk about him. It's like, wow, she's done this and stuff. And now it feels like more of just a nod to the fact that she's got this experience and it hasn't become part of the story. Because originally those flashbacks were kind of interesting too. Like her's like, oh, I'm not worried about these Klingons. And now it's like, we don't even really talk about it.
Yeah, I think we got like so much in seasons 1 and 2 of some of those like prior to us knowing Mariner moments. And I'm glad we're starting to hear more of Tendi's. I hope we get and we got a lot of Rutherford last season as well with the with his implant and kind of seeing the history of those like erased memories. So it'll be, and we've seen like Boimler's home with the grape farm where all of the ladies, all the ladies are falling over for Boimler. So
I love Boims.
The Boims got the riz, to quote.
LL Cool Boims.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I can be wrong.
Which, by the way,
Paul.
A total slight side tangent. This past weekend was the VMAs on like the Video Music Awards from MTV. Do you remember when they used to play music videos?
Have videos? Like, how do you have Video Music Awards when you don't have videos?
Oh, there's still music videos. They're just on YouTube and they're great. It's a really great music video renaissance right now, actually. But my point was they did a big tribute to the 50th anniversary of hip hop. And so they had like Grandmaster Flash. They had all these people. But LL Cool J showed up. Truly, probably one of the better performances of the whole night.
Wow. Well, don't call it a comeback. He's been here for years.
Yes.
He has.
Nice, Paul. That was a good one.
The only disappointment was I really wish he had sung "My Hat Is Like a Shark's Fin" because I'm a big Deep Blue Sea fan.
Sorry, I'm low key. I'm actually a massive LL Cool J fan. I don't like that to come out, but yes. And,
That's fine.
yes.
I ran into him once in an airport in Germany, and he was very nice.
And this is hip hop talk with Myrriah, Clyde, and Paul. This is what happens where we're hopped up on Catch Yourself White, everyone. Like,
Catch Yourself White. It's causing that really sloppy jazz.
The Telluride
that
jazz.
stuff will mess you up.
Mess you up, man. I did love Rutherford's speed racer version of going through the entire game. I thought those were like a great way to do all some fun nods to that DS9 episode. And I also liked at the very end, we had the Catan probe from Inner Light that hit the Betazoid gift box. And he's like, I miss my wife.
Oh, wait, what was that reference? I think I might miss that reference.
Oh, it's from the episode Inner Light, where there's like this thing that beamed Picard into an alternate universe where he lived a separate life.
Oh, that's right. Okay,
a whole life.
A whole life.
Like from like he was a grandfather with
it's the flute one. It's the flute.
The flute, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't realize that's what the probe was.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so much more funny now.
Yeah. So in the Betazoid's like, I miss my wife.
That's hilarious. That's
so many. This is what I mean. Second watch. You see, like there's so many more.
I didn't realize.
Think that Picard would have more references to this life he lived. You know,
that is something to ponder.
Picard, like he's had 2 lives and now he's a robot. Like I mean, like
he's had quite a few. Speaking of characters who get resurrected, Boimler does die at the end. Did you all actually think he was dead?
No.
I mean, well, he did. He died. He did. He just got brought back.
He saw the koala. Yeah.
And I love the fact that the koala was there. Like, I'm a big fan of the koala.
And I love, like, if y'all watch with the closed captions on, when the koala is making noises, it says "speaking koala." Which is just like, it's the details, y'all. It's really the details that make me giggle in this show. And then Boimler does go to the Twin Peaks Red Room, seemingly, which is also a deep cut. I didn't realize there was so much Twin Peaks happening in Star Trek, but it's a good time. And then we kind of end with they were being hazed. I liked Cheapy brought up earlier. I was surprised by Ransom being an art fan. I want to know more. And I kind of liked that, it took this whole episode was kind of about the need for teamwork, both as upper deckers and lower deckers to actually get the job done. Right. Is our end message.
Sure. I guess so.
So one thing that I thought was interesting is Dr. Tiana. Or Tana, and it was like just the fact that
holy shit, it worked.
It's just like give him whatever worked the first time. It's this change, and I think it's different from what it was, particularly in the first 2 seasons, and maybe even last season. We're so used to the Doctor on Star Trek being so good at what they do, so good that every Doctor on every series does something that then is in medical journals, and they're one of the best doctors to ever be a doctor in the universe, right? And Tiana's just like, it worked, like so kind of like surprised about everything that this is a different take. Like it's almost like she's the lower decks doctor.
Yeah.
Like the California class doctor.
We're she's still resurrecting people, so give it to her. She's resurrected. I mean, Shax is still around. She's done it multiple times at this point.
Yeah, no. It's like I never considered that. Like Star Trek is basically a zombie show.
It's a zombie show, a metaphor of the parable of Christ. All available to you in Star Trek.
That's right. It all works.
Get a little everything with your Trek. It's kind of like a
that's quite the journey.
Hollywood film
through the stars.
You're gonna get everything.
Uncharted territories. Anything else about this particular episode? Shout out to I love Oscar Montoya, who voiced the computer on the on the show this week. He is someone who's also on this show on Stars called Minx. That's super fun. And that was like a fun surprise. I think I'm going to actually see him tomorrow. So I'm going to be like, hey, welcome to the Star Trek universe. Also, way to be the only non-evil computer we've ever had on the show.
Like ever. Yeah.
And then he goes to you, just so you know, I am evil.
I would love it. Secrets spilled. Yeah, overall, I mean, I enjoyed the episode. I'm excited to get back to kind of our mystery box of the season, and see probably Badgie is showing up at some point, or some weird Badgie whale situation with the ship. Have y'all had any other thoughts or predictions to what the weird spaceship is that's blowing up all these ships?
I'm hoping it's something new.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm hoping that it's a throwback. I hope it's something old where you go like, aha. But then I just thought, like, just right now, I go like, okay, so they destroyed a Klingon ship, a Romulan ship, and they destroyed something else yet? Or just
not yet, just those two.
And so, like, who would want to destroy those ships? That's my thought process. Like,
maybe it's Khan.
What's the Khan have against the Romulans? You know, all the Romulans do is like backstab each other.
I don't know.
So I guess that's what it'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to see why that was it just randomly like it'd be random. If it was like a Pac-led ship. Ooh, like like shiny ship.
I'm done with the Pac-leds.
Yeah, I'm done with.
He says, I don't think that the people have been killed. They've been transported.
That's interesting.
Ooh, Choopy with hot freaks.
I mean, pretty soon we're gonna have a whole segment of the show called Choopy's Theories.
Choopy Theories.
And only in the best way.
Yes, of course. I love a good theory. It's one of my favorite parts of this podcast is coming up with crazy theories.
Come up with some of the best crazy theories.
I love a good
Glenn
crazy
and Boimler.
Yeah, calling it now. Corner pocket.
Pocket 4 credits. So, don't worry, nothing in the corner pocket. Shot. That's right. I love it.
Okay, y'all. I think that is it for tonight. We will be back next week for another episode of Lower Decks coverage. You can subscribe, rate, and review on Apple. You can also rate the show on Spotify. Visit StarTrekPod.co to find everywhere you can listen to the show, as well as the links to our Patreon, where you can leave us messages in the menagerie. I'm going to just check it one more time. Got them all for this week. We're excited to share from our listeners. So if you want to share with us, join that Patreon for just $2 an episode. Clyde, where can people follow us on the internet?
You can follow us at Star Trek Pod wherever you follow stuff. Yeah, do it at Star Trek Pod. Thanks, Karen. We're gonna try to maybe get on Threads. I'm figuring it out. Thank you all so much. We will see you all next time. Live long and prosper. Bye bye.
Bye bye.